the Superior. Superior was going to get cut for another Wall of Roots, I think was the plan. Anyway. Let's keep running 3 Wall of Roots before we start testing more Steward of Valoran. Yeah. So this is the more expensive version. This version's like a lot more. And didn't fit within the budget of the tournament constraints. I mean, triple painter. Yeah. I mean, it looks similar. It's got some similar tools that we were trying to test. But I mean, out of the board, you got things like Elspeth, Sigarda that we're borrowing. So, anyway. 17 damage someone on turn 4. Emperor suggests Treefolk Harbinger. Yeah, Treefolk Harbinger might be fun. I don't know if we need it. That'd be more tutors. Yeah. That's not a bad idea. Let me try to find it. You don't need the Linval on the side if you can avoid more main board. Savactor, thanks for the follow, Reno. That's another nice 1-drop, right? It also helps us against aggressive strats. I don't hate that. We could try that for sure. Let's go back to the Teysa and the Treefolk. TNT. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. That seems really cool, like a Harbinger, a Singleton Harbinger. That could be fun to test. It's not a mana ramp, though. But it might make more sense than the main deck Burrington and the main deck Militant. For example, Militant has anti-synergy with the one of Reach of Branches, which I don't like. Sorry, Hakan, you're probably not going to work. You're probably just too expensive. Same with these. I don't know if I like the 2 of Golgari Charm. So you're saying just main deck the Linvala just for more meat? You could do that. Yeah, I mean, if we're going to spend a lot of tickets on a threat and not main deck it, that does seem like a mistake. So Linvala may just want to be main. She'll probably be bigger than the average threat we're going to face in the tournament, which gives her an advantage. Gives us more 4-drops, 5-drop, 5-drop, more 4-drops. I mean, Court can be cast earlier than that, for sure, but... She is, yeah, I mean, I'm down with the Linvala just being in the main, potentially. Burrington does feel more like a sideboard card. The Lignifies could go down if we run something interesting like Harbinger. You guys always have great ideas. That's why I love brewing as a team with you guys on the channel. That's why I just don't say my decks are my decks anymore. There are decks because you guys just put in so many ideas. And sometimes the ideas stick, and then it's not really my deck anymore now, is it? Which is fine. I'm okay with that, for sure. It might be too much Sculler. You know, we maybe only need 1 Canonist. Because we can court for it. Run a Sun Titan. Yeah, so this is a one of. This would also help with the Bosks. And it's not horrendous. We can search for a forest. The problem is it does put it on top. It doesn't put it into hand, but none of the Harbingers put it in hand. So what? This could let us, top deck the Reach. This could let us top deck a Lignify. That might just be straight up better than running the Lignifies. This might just want to be a one-of. And if we're going to just go with more Harbinger. This lets us block better against some of the aggressive decks of the format that we're anticipating. This also helps the curvature of the deck. That might be too much Harbinger, though. But we'll think about it, yeah. Maybe 2 Lignify? 1 less Harbinger? I'd love for the deck to curve. That's the next step. Overmaster suggests Congregation. Mixon says that the top will make the opponent's path better. Oh, yes. Yes, it will. If there is one. If they want to path the Harbinger, they are welcome to. I don't hate the idea of testing a Harbinger or two in place of just a whole bunch of Lignifies. Might actually help the consistency. Snafu says, do $60 in Snapcaster, run 8 path effects, go full value. Well, that was what we saw from our friend, although he unfortunately didn't budget it fully. So we're heavy on 3 drops, right? This is really only useful if we're up against sweepers. This is really only useful if we're up against a swarm strategy. This is really only useful if we're up against particular something we have to remove. The Fiend Hunter is actually pretty specific, isn't he? Although Necrotic Sliver is a lot of mana. Maybe there's some other places I can cut. Maybe we could go down on Tesos. I don't like doing that, but we could. The thing is we're only running 1 painter anyway, so maybe it just makes more sense to focus on the fair game that the deck has more. Because I think in a lot of games that, for example, Abzan Malira decks, Malira Abzan, or whatever you want to call it, company, a lot of their games are won from the fair side of the deck with the beatdowns instead of the combo side of the deck anyway. Since we only had room for maybe 1 to 2 painter in the budget in the first place, maybe we might as well just go to a 2 of Teysa and run more utility anyways. Yeah, again, if we wanted the Murmuring Boss to be fully consistent, you'd have to run probably 2 Lignify, 3 Harbinger, 2 Lignify, 1 Reach. Million Little suggests Arbor Elf. I think you're right. We were running Arbor Elves. The Arbor Elf was a little awkward, though. I had a few draws where all I had was Forest, and the Arbor Elf wasn't adding to the Color Pie, whereas the Pilgrim lets me cast the Steward. Oh no, Tooth is cheap. Oh no. Are we gonna have to build Tooth and Nail? That might be the best strat. That's not the most fun strat, though. But I agree that could be a very good strat. In my opinion, Gavinies are here on the curvature. I'd actually like 1 more Gaviny because I feel like that's the way this deck will win a lot. Somebody once told me that this deck is actually just a Gaviny deck. And I believe them after playing it myself. The 3rd Gaviny might be worth the investment because it's a cheap engine that just can crush fair matchups, fair grindy matchups you can just crush with a Township. So the 3rd Township might be sweet. And by adding a land, I'm not cutting any colored sources if I'm just adding a land, so... Yeah, I mean, another Township would make our grindy match just better. Let's price this one and see if we're way under the budget and maybe we could add something spicier. So watch this. So I'm going to go into export. So TNT. Export. Desktop. Should be different. Yep. So you take that file to the upload a deck. So basically my article is going to show up like this. See how there's the Jeff Hoogland's primer guide? Once it's finished, it's going to be basically like this on the website for now, which is really cool. This is the expensive variant though. Do you see how I've really trimmed down? Like, we could play this deck as a $600 deck, but we're not. Clear. For the tournament constraints, we have to be 100 tickets or less. For those of you who are just getting here, that's why it's called the 100 ticket challenge. Or it might just be called the 100 ticket tournament. We haven't decided. This one. Load. So we're a little bit over, actually. Let's optimize and see if we can go under. Now I'm making sure that it has them available because that was the problem with our opponent, was he didn't check to see that the card was available. If the card's not available, Card Hoarder actually doesn't keep track of the price changes if it's not available. I think that was his mistake. I know we were saying that his deck wasn't within the budget constraints because there's no way Flooded Strand is 2 tickets a pop. But that's not necessarily his fault, it's the system's fault because the if the card is out of stock, then it doesn't give you the right price. So what's making us go over? We did cut a Teysa, but what did we add? We added a something. We added a something. Oh no, we're under now. 98 tickets, so we actually have a ticket or two to work with. Do you have to run the optimized versions of cards? Wapla, I don't think so. I don't think so. But if that's true, we'd have to switch out the some of the cards here and there. I don't think so. I think we're allowed to just submit like the list. But we could talk about, those are like little specifics that might come up, and I'll talk to Nathaniel. That's a great question to bring to him. Let's grab these last pieces and call it a deck and see if we can more consistently hit the Bosk mana on time. We do want this colored mana on time. This one, unfortunately, is not on time, and we might just want to cut these because they're slow lands and just run like a 1 of plains, a 1 of swamp, in case somebody's ghost quartering. What do we want to spend the 1 ticket on? Maybe a second Mirror Superior? Second Mirror Superior seems awesome. Maybe cut a Steward. That's a lot of Stewards. This is a lot of Steward of Valoron. I understand why I'm running it. It's another green-white creature that synergizes with Wiltleaf. But this is honestly probably the best early core target in Modern right now. And it's $1. And I think this is really where a lot of the power is. Now, granted, you shouldn't run too many because you can't cast them. The only other way to hardcast the Superiors is to have Pilgrims or birds. We could stick in a Dried Arbor to also help cast the Superiors. That's a consideration, is maybe we don't like the Sand Steps so much. So you can trim down on this. And then you run like a Dried Arbor. How much is Arbor? Any consideration to Juniper Order? This is a lot of tickets, though. What if we try to basic plains? Even not necessarily basic swamp, but what about basic plains? We might get ghost quartered. Like if they ghost quarter a Bosk, we're kind of sad. I don't really want any slow lands, to be honest with you. Can we just cut these and just try to pull off the Bosks? I don't really want any slow lands. Let's change the build real quick. Maybe like 1 plains, 1 swamp. Click Clicky? I'm sorry, Click Clicky. Do they always call you Clicky Clicky? Burning Tree because you can just cast him? Oh, Burning Tree can cast him, yeah. Yeah, Burning Tree Emissary can pull off Superiors. I mean, I'd actually like to build around the Superior. In a way. Yeah, Emissary. Yeah, Emissary can cast Superior. We could build around this card. This is very powerful. It's only a ticket. And a lot of decks just... Not that I'm the... I'd rather do something more interesting with the deck, but yeah, some number of Burning Trees might be sweet. Run some Doran. Doran's about... Doran's actually really expensive. This is an idea. Clicky Clicky is the most common. Well, I'm sorry, Click Clicky. Names are important, I agree. I'm glad you clarified. I have no problem saying that I'm wrong. I got your name wrong. I'm sorry, friend. Stick around, though. Maybe you make some friends. We try to be really chill here. I think of it kind of like a MTG Clubhouse, honestly. I mean, yes, it's a stream. Yes, you take... You know, right now we're just kind of in Clubhouse mode. Like, yes, when we're in, like, a tournament, I do take things pretty darn serious, but... let's price the Burning Tree. What about Mirror Tribal, says Dwarf Rage? Be cool if there was a deck giveaway for viewers as well, like a charity for the winning deck. That's a good idea, thank you for the Venom. I'll talk to Nathaniel, that would be really cool. Like, whoever, like, maybe do, like, a giveaway and give away the winning deck. I'll talk to Nathaniel, because a 100-ticket deck is not that bad. That's a great idea. Yeah, 40 tickets is very much expensive. Serene says run the Dried Arbor. Yeah, we might have to. It's the problem with Arbor is it's expensive, but we can maybe shave in some other places to fit in the Arbor. Now, you could argue that Bosk is sometimes... Yes, sometimes Bosk will enter tapped. Yes, I realize that. That is a deck constraint for trying to run a little bit of a undertone tree folk theme for the